The protein powder tastes less sweet once you made it into the pancake. And now it's ready. Our high protein, low fat pancake. Perfect breakfast and a perfect match for a cup of iced Americano. Hi, I'm Maxxie. Welcome to my channel. Pancakes just feel right for breakfast, isn't it? Even for me, someone who grew up in mainland China where pancakes should not be a thing. Still, sometimes I'd like some pancakes for breakfast, thanks to McDonald's. But unfortunately, pancakes are almost entirely carbs and fat, and worse in some fancier recipes where there are syrup and butter. So, that's why I make my own pancakes with protein powders. Well, it's not completely made from protein powder. I still use ingredients like flour and almond flour, but protein powders play a large part in it. The whole recipe is high in protein, relatively lower in calories, and completely different from a normal one. And they are very easy to make. In this episode, I'm gonna share two versions of it, a low-fat one with nearly no fat in it, and a low-carb one that tastes like a dessert. Okay, now let's get started. One point to keep in mind. You are about to see I cook in a completely different kitchen from this one, because I just moved to London. But I filmed the majority of this episode when I was back in China. Okay, now let's get literally started. First, let's make the low-fat one. The major ingredient is, of course, a protein powder that you like. The flavor I'm using for this recipe is Hokkaido milk. I find it works quite well in most dessert recipes, so I stored a lot of it. And if you don't know what Hokkaido milk is, don't worry, you don't need to know. It's just a fancy word they come up with to market sweet milk. For every pancake, we are adding 35 grams of whey protein powder. And then 35 grams of plain wheat flour, the same amount as the whey protein powder. For the flour, I recommend all-purpose flour if you are looking for a rather fluffy texture. But if you don't mind the gluten strength in it, you can use bread flour. After these two, we add in half a teaspoon of baking powder, a quick and easy way to make the batter puff in the pan. Keep in mind, it's baking powder, not baking soda. They are different. The soda won't work here. And that's it. All the dry ingredients are in the cup now. Now we blend them. I like doing this in the cup with a pair of chopsticks. It's way easier and way less messy than using a whisk in a bowl. And it's way easier to clean than whisk. And speaking of chopsticks, why is it so hard to buy chopsticks in London? The IKEA here even sells Chinese steam cage, but they don't sell chopsticks. But anyway, that's another story. The point here is chopsticks is the easier way. Buy some chopsticks. Okay, after we blend the powders, we add in 70 milliliters of water. So the ratio of protein powder, flour, and water is 1, 1, and 2. It's okay to get a little bit over that with water, but don't go down. And then blend again. The batter should be of this consistency. When you don't see any chunks in it, we can get it in the pan. The frying part for this recipe requires no oil. All you need is just a non-stick pan that works well. First, turn the fire to maximum heat to get the pan real hot as quickly as possible. Drip a little bit of water inside. This is to help you see if the pan is hot enough. When the water starts to evaporate violently, which won't take long, we know the pan is ready. Now we can add the batter into it. Turn the fire down to middle heat. The pan will become dry again. And now we pour the batter inside. It should be smooth and easy. Once all your batter is inside, cover the pan with a lid. And then just leave it on the stove like this for half a minute. The lid is there to lock the batter's own steam inside to help the upper part set. Half a minute later, remove the lid, and your pancake should be pretty easy to turn upside down, as long as your non-stick pan is not fake. Look at the beautiful color. Now, cover it again for another half a minute. Another half a minute later, both sides are thoroughly cooked. Now our high-protein, low-fat pancake is ready to be served. Okay, let's cut it open and see it inside. See? It's very soft and fluffy. And it's giving off this sweety milky smell. To garnish it, I usually dust it with some artificial sweetener. because the protein powder tastes less sweet once you made it into the pancake. And now it's ready, our high protein, low fat pancake. Perfect breakfast and a perfect match for a cup of iced Americano. Okay, now I'm gonna make myself that iced Americano and break down the nutrition facts of this pancake. Each one of this pancake is around 263 kcal in total. It contains around 32.8 grams of protein, contributing about 49.8% of the total calories, 27.7 grams of carbs, about 42.2%, and finally, only 2.3 grams of fat, just 8%. And that is how I make this low-fat protein pancake. It's delicious on its own, and it's even better if you reheat it in the air fryer. Okay, now the second one, the low-carb pancake. The major ingredient is still 35 grams of whey protein powder, and then to substitute the carbs part, we use almond flour instead of wheat flour. This is also 35 grams. And then the same, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and blend. And then we add water. Now, water is where this recipe differs from the first one. We are only adding 55 milliliters of water instead of 70 because almond flour doesn't absorb water as well as wheat flour. The batter of this recipe is gonna be a little bit watery because there is no gluten in it to give it the strength. The cooking process is the same as the first one. Again, we don't need oil for this. What's different in this one is that this low-carb batter doesn't hold shape very well as the first one. Because it's made of almond flour, there is no gluten to combine everything. But instead, you get a better taste and texture. This one is fluffy and a little bit crispy at the same time. And it naturally has this roasted almond flavor. It's not only perfect for breakfast, it's also perfect for desserts. I mean, if you can make it prettier. And I find it tastes very good with sweetened black tea. So I guess it's also a nice choice for British afternoon tea. Anyway, now let's break down the nutrition facts. This one is about 358 kcal in total, 36.2 grams of protein, contributing to around 40.4% of the total calories, and then 20.5 grams of fat, contributing 51.5%, and the last 7.2 grams of carbs, only 8.1%. And that is all the recipes of this episode. All the statistics are listed in the video description down below. If you like this video, please tap the like button and subscribe to my channel. And you can also follow me on Instagram, where I share my fitness progress and other things in my daily life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. And happy cooking! Take care!